On today's spooky spot, we're also going to be doing a terrifying throwback of a figure I've already reviewed. In fact, I reviewed at another spooky spot. We're going to be re-looking at the Neca Trick or Treat Sam. I've always loved this movie ever since the first time I've seen it. Let's bring it in here. Ever since I've seen it, I've loved Trick or Treat, and it's now become a new tradition of mine. In fact, I've already watched it this year. I might watch it again before Halloween rolls around. If you haven't, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you have not watched Trick or Treat, do yourself a favor. Do take Spot's advice and do watch Trick or Treat. It has now become my favorite Halloween movie. Yes, I love the Halloweens, don't get me wrong, but I think Trick or Treat has now become my favorite holiday Halloween tradition. I've got to watch this now every year. And I thought along the lines, oh, sorry, I banged the packaging. I thought along the lines, you know what? If I've watched this as a tradition, why not go back and let's re-review the Sam toy? I don't think I did it proper justice the first time that I did the review of it, so I thought, you know what? Let's go back, let's do a terrifying throwback on the Sam toy. Package-wise, we've got a picture of Sam at the side there. Poison, drowning, claw, or knife. So many ways to take a life. Down below you can see a picture of Sam the figure. Features a lollipop, candy bar, sack, interchangeable head, pumpkins, and display base. They have re-released Sam. I don't think it actually had all the accessories. Neca lately has been re-releasing a lot of their figures. But they seem to trim back some of the accessories that made the original releases, I think, that much more worth getting. On the back of the packaging, now of course I've already opened this up, so reopening it's not going to be too big of a deal. The rules of Halloween, very crucial rules if you want to keep Sam away from you. The rules of Halloween: wear a costume, hand out treats, never blow out a jack-o'-lantern, very crucial as you saw in the movie, and always check your candy, also a very crucial bit of information. The read-up says, one night of the year when jack-o'-lanterns burn bright and the monsters roam the streets, we open our doors to hand out candy to trick-or-treaters. But what most of us never realize is that these costumes children aren't always what they seem. Wandering amongst them is Sam, the ancient spirit of Halloween, an enforcer of the holiday's many traditions. Dressed in an orange footie pajamas and ragged burlap sack, Sam appears to be nothing more than another kid in costume. But lurking underneath that simple disguise is something else entirely, something deadly. So when you hear a knock at your door next Halloween, you better be wearing a mask and you better have a bowl full of treats, or you could be in for one hell of a trick. What a fantastic read-up for a fantastic movie. But that's packaging. Can't wait to reopen this guy. Again, I don't think I did a good enough review of this guy the first time around, so I'm going to hopefully do a little bit better justice this time around. I'm also going to give this guy a terrifying rating. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to get this opened up, and we are going to have ourselves a look at the Trick or Treat Sam. Stay tuned. And welcome back. We've now got Sam out of package. Let's have a better look at the figure. Well, let's start first of all by telling you guys that if you have not watched, let's bring in again Trick or Treat, and you did not watch my other review, there is going to be a spoiler in this review. If you don't mind getting a spoiler, continue to watch. Continue to be scared. If you don't want to be spoiled by the spoiler, as it were, I would say don't watch this review. Definitely watch Trick or Treat first. Alright, let's have a look at the figure first. We'll take him off the display stand. He has several very cool accessories. We'll look at that later though. First we'll zoom in to, I think, a perfectly sculpted burlap sack mask. Definitely captures the essence of Sam. Now there was one gripe that I had with the figure, and I don't even think I mentioned it during the time I did the initial review, but it is something I want to comment on now. This figure has always seemed pretty cool, but always seemed a little off to me. And I think now that the more I look at it, the more I think I'm starting to see what I have problems with the figure. And that is the fact, I think it's his scale. His scale seems off. It does definitely seem off. Now granted, I mean, this is the only gripe I think I'm going to have about the figure is this. And it's the fact that it just seems scale-wise that he is off. In the movie, of course, we assume that he's some sort of demon, some sort of essence of Halloween. But his body seems to that be the size of probably about, what, a 6-year-old, 7, 8-year-old. This figure seems a little tall to me. Now, I might be the only one that thinks this, but the figure does seem a little too tall. The figure for me, I think, should probably only have been about that high, I think, to be properly scaled to Sam in the movie. The other problem I have really is that of the head. While I do love the mask, I think the mask is perfect, his head seems a little too small for that of the body. Again, I think Sam really only should have gone to about the neck, and then of that, the head should have been a little bit larger. So if you notice, he is very childlike. This figure almost depicts Sam as if he was about, I don't know, 10 years old or so. He is almost a little too tall. The Footie Pajamas also that he's wearing, I think are really cool. They've got the scuff and everything on the knees and the patches and everything else like that. As you can see there, a lot of dirt and debris on it. Really, really cool, but geez, Spot, you're going to be awfully hard on this figure. No, I don't want to be hard. I just want to give you guys an overall unbiased review. If I compare it over, first of all, to Sam, you can see the scale I was telling you about. Sam does seem like he's a little shorter, and he's got a much larger head than that of the figure. But the Footie Pajamas also seem like they should be a little brighter orange than the washed orange that we got in this figure. Now, having said that, it's still a really nice figure. I think they did a fantastic job. There's just, again, small, tweaks here and there that I would have done differently. Now, you'll notice he's got two things in his hand, one of which is the lollipop that he breaks off and ends up, spoiler again, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, turn this review off, but the lollipop that he ends up cutting the girl's neck, that guy's poor girlfriend, he's sleeping in his bed, falls asleep with the adult movie on, and this poor girl gets, I don't know why she would take the Halloween decorations down Halloween night. I know she doesn't like Halloween, but certainly I would have waited till the next day. But he ends up killing her. Now, in the review, I don't even think the initial review I commented on this, but the lollipop can actually come out of his hand. Let me just zoom back a bit here. The lollipop can actually come out of his hand. Why you would necessarily want it out of his hand, I really don't know. But there you go. You can actually take it out. Without the lollipop in his hand, the one thing, unfortunately, with the figure is that he's pre-posed in the upper shoulder. This arm is permanently in that position. So it could look like he's handing out UNICEF money, but you only can swivel the arm at the elbow. So it's pretty much, without the lollipop in his hand, it does look like he should be holding something or he's doing something. Who knows what he's doing. Almost looks like he's ready to do rock, paper, scissors as well. We're just going to put the lollipop back in his hand. Now his hand, of course, can rotate as well, which I think is a little bit helpful as also. You can have it like that. The other hand, which I'm almost certain I didn't mention in the initial review, it looks like he's got almost a crude version of almost a Snickers bar, but that ain't nougat on the end, my friend. That is a razor blade. That is an X-Acto knife blade, as you can see there. Now you can actually take this candy bar out of his hand, which I think Butterfingers here, not to be mixing chocolate bars, but I don't think this guy mentioned that in the initial review. You can actually take the candy bar out. Now again, his hand is, the paint's not too bad. you're not going to be spending a lot of time, I think, looking this close at a hand. If I zoom back quickly, you got yourself the candy bar we can put down here for a second. He also does come with a sack, a bloodied sack that he drags around through most of the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's in such a way that you really can't properly put it in his hand. I mean, you could kind of hook it, but then you have to bend his hand completely the other way around. You could kind of just drape it, which I think in the initial review I just draped on the candy bar, but you can do that. Or it's sculpted that you could put it on the display base a certain way, and then you can also have Sam, like such as that. You could do that if you want. Certainly the downside, unfortunately, is the fact that if you take the candy bar out, do be careful that you put it back in, because if you don't, it's going to get lost, my friend. It is going to get lost. Of the articulation that he has a ball-jointed head, although you can't do too much because of the way the burlap sack is. As I mentioned, he has a swivel in the elbow, a rotation in the hand on one side. This arm, on the other hand, has a pin and socket, which will allow the arm to bend slightly out and rotate all the way around. This is an earlier Neca figure, so do be careful when you move the arm, that as you've seen with some of the other figures that I've reviewed, there is a very thin, brittle joint that tends to be in here, and it will break off. He also does have a bend in the elbow and a rotation in the arm, also a rotation in the hand. Nothing really from the neck down. That's pretty much it. Other accessories that Sam does come with is he comes with a pumpkin, a light up pumpkin. I'll just put Sam actually on his display stand for a second. Stay. There you go. He does come with one pumpkin, one jack-o'-lantern. He does also come with the pumpkin. If you look at the front of the cover, is actually the pumpkin on the front of the poster, or on the poster here. They don't light up. It'd be kind of cool if they did light up, kind of like the Night He Came Home pumpkins that came with the Michael Myers. You can kind of place them in the back there. You can probably place the light up pumpkin if you want there. It's entirely up to you. You could also put the pumpkin right there. You could have him just with two pumpkins. You just kind of have his burlap sack in the front. His other accessory, let's move these out of the way here. Before I show it, there's the display stand. Kind of neat with the fall leaves and everything else there. Now this is the part where there's a bit of a spoiler. He does come with an alternate head, which was perfect if you ask me. It was a perfect reveal. The fact that he had a jack-o'-lantern style head. I think that is so cool. It's kind of a cross between, well, a jack-o'-lantern. It kind of looks like Pumpkinhead as well. But I think that looks very, very cool. You can take Sam and just pop his head off, like so. This is the brittle joints that I was telling you about. I don't know, there's something about this clear plastic that just does not work well for some of the older Neca figures. You can then take the head and snap it into place, and like that you've got yourself the alternate Sam. You guys will have to let me know down below. I'm pretty sure the re-release of the Sam, I don't think had the alternate head. It may or may not have. The same gripe I made earlier with the figure I could probably say here too. It seems like he's just too tall of a figure, and also his head is too small. In the movie, it looks like his head is quite the melon-sized dome. I don't think is properly executed here in this figure. Great sculpt, but I think the scale is just a slight bit off. I'm going to take the head off one more time. Guys, let me know down below. Do you agree? Do you think the scale seems a little off on the figure, or am I just crazy? I'm willing to bet that it could be a case where Spot's just a little bit crazy. But overall, this is just a great, great figure. Not a lot of Sams have been released. There might have been a Sam Living Dead doll that was released, but that was really about it. There might have also been a bobblehead version, but I'm kind of hoping that we get another Sam that I think is just a little bit shorter. I think that would have made for a perfect figure But having said that, though, it's still such a great figure to have. Definitely worth definitely worth putting out, I think, every Halloween. And speaking of, again, I think make it a tradition of yours as well to watch Trick or Treat every year. A fantastic movie. Let's hope there's a sequel. If I can give Sam here any terrifying rating, I would give him I'm going to give him an 8.5. The colors, again, could be a little bit better. It could be a little shorter, which I've said constantly through this review. But that aside, though, it's still such a great figure. Today's spooky spot, we're having a look at the Neca Trick or Treat Sam. I thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more spooky spots on the way, and I'll see you guys next time. Woo!